Hey guys, Aaron just posted a director's take or update on the whole PvE situation. I have not read any of this. I figured we'd go through it together. Let's see what he's got. Hey all, it's been an emotional week in the world of Overwatch. A few days ago, we talked about our change in approach to PvE in Overwatch 2 and released a high-level roadmap for the year. I don't know if I'd call it high level. We're really excited for everything we'll be launching soon, but much of the discussion this week has been about how we're canceling PvE outright. Wait, but much of the discussion this week has been about, okay, so like that's not entirely true, you know? He's addressing now, so I want to take some time to discuss some of that with you. Got it. When we announced Overwatch 2 in 2019, the idea for the game was centered around the PvP game we released last October. And on the PvE side, story missions and hero missions. Story missions focus on fast-paced co-op gameplay as well as story, cinematics, and cutscenes that expand the world of Overwatch. Which, like, I think they can still do that, you know? It'll just be a little bit more watered down than what we would have liked. Story missions tell a linear narrative about the heroes of Overwatch reuniting and battling the new Null Sector threat, pushing the story of Overwatch forward for the first time since our original game released. These missions take place on huge maps with new enemies and new cinematics. We will begin to release them in Season 6. Oh, okay, so those will be coming up pretty soon. The work done here is amazing, leaps and bounds above what we've built for PvE previously in our game, and I can't wait for our players to get their hands on them. We'll be sharing more details in the coming weeks. Okay, so for me, I'm not particularly surprised. I'm upset about the talent tree side of things not being there. But I still think they'll deliver, like, at least some story components that will be interesting, but I don't think it's going to have anywhere close to the same pull or magnitude that their original vision was. But, again, reserving judgment for once we have them. Because, realistically, they needed, like, an entirely new team to make a whole new game. Hero missions, on the other hand, encompassed an in-development game mode that allowed players to upgrade individual heroes through talent trees, providing a deeply replayable version of PvE in Overwatch. I don't know if that actually would have been replayable, because I feel like, at least coming from Destiny, you get really sick of strikes very quickly. It was a really exciting concept, something that not only resonated with players, but that the team was passionate about and really dedicated to. This is the mode we're no longer moving forward with. Okay, so it's hero missions specifically that won't be happening, but story missions will be. So, like, it could be worse. It could be both of these. To give you some context for this change, I'd like to talk about the past and the origins of Team 4. The Overwatch team was founded in the wake of a canceled game at Blizzard called Project... Wow, we're actually getting some lore right now from the Blizzard side called Project Titan. That game had many facets, but at its heart, it was an FPS MMO. The Overwatch team, especially at its inception, considered itself an MMO development team. As we transitioned away from the original concept and started creating Overwatch, we wanted plans to one day return to that scope. That's fair enough. We had Crawl Walk Run, right? Yeah, I mean, Frito really likes to quote this. Overwatch was the crawl, a dedicated version of PvE was the walk, and an MMO was the run. It was built into the DNA of the team early on, and some of us consider the final game a true realization of the original vision of Project Titan. When we launched Overwatch in 2016, we quickly started talking about what the next iteration could be. That's interesting. Like, why? Like, the fact that they launched the game and they're like, okay, what can we do next? Like, that's... I don't know if that's a little archaic in viewpoint, looking back at that, because they haven't even done live service remotely well. Looking back at that moment, it's now obvious that we weren't as focused as we should have been on a game that was a runaway hit. Yeah, he literally just said what I just said. Like, okay, he's ahead of me. Instead, we stayed focused on a plan that was years old. Work began on the PvE portion of the game, and we steadily continued shifting more and more of the team on those. Yeah, we went like 2.5 years without any sizable update on the game. Things rarely go as planned in game development. We struggled to find our footing with the hero mission experience early on. Scope grew. We are trying to do too many things at once and we lost focus. The team built some really great things, including hero towns, new enemy units, and early versions of missions, but we were never able to bring it together all of the elements needed to ship a polished, cohesive experience, which is fair. Blizzard really likes polishing the crap out of a lot of the stuff they release in comparison to like any other game, right? Like, that's the thing, is Overwatch still continues to not have a serious competitor. like as fun as Paladins could be, it just doesn't have the same level of polish. We had an exciting but gargantuan vision, and we are continuously pulling resources away from the live game in an attempt to realize it. Again, this screams of upper management problems, where like upper management needed to like give them the resources they needed to tackle basically 2 games at once. Like, even Bungie struggles to pump out content for PvP, and their team is like 3 times the size as the Overwatch team. And they have more money coming in. Like, I can't help but look back on our original ambitions for Overwatch and feel like we used the slogan of crawl, walk, run to continue to march forward with a strategy that just wasn't working. Yeah, it's time to adapt and change. Like, times change, and you need to change with them sometimes. We had announced something audacious. Our players had high expectations for it, but we no longer felt like we could deliver it. They should have reworded or rephrased their announcements to like meet expectations. That's like what it boils down to for me. Or just not added the 2 on Overwatch 2, and people would have been a little happier. We needed to make an incredibly difficult decision, one we knew would disappoint our players, the team, and everyone looking for it. And that's, oh my god, that's the other thing, is that like people forget that like the team has worked really hard on a lot of this stuff, and they're not going to be able to do, you know, what they originally had set out to do. So I know there's a lot of people on the team that I follow that are very disappointed. The Overwatch team understands this deeply. This represented years of work and emotional investment. They are wonderful, incredibly talented people and truly have a passion for our game and the work that they do. Yeah, they are. For the most part, there's some, I mean, no team is perfect. So I'm not going to like harp on that too much, because there's elements that they need to continue to improve on. But like improvement is like always ongoing. Lastly, people have wondered why this announcement came at this time after Overwatch 2 had launched. We started refining our plans for future seasons. As those plans grew, we tried to find ways to make all of our ambitions fit together in a plan that we believed in. We couldn't. And we also knew that we couldn't go back to pulling people away from the live game in service of that original vision. Again, yeah, they couldn't go back to what they did with Overwatch 1. So we made the difficult decision to cut hero missions and started playing. Okay, so like, it's not as dire or as dramatic as people are making it out to be. Like, it's a bummer, but they're chopping like a chunk off, but like the tree is still going to stand, right? Like they're doing some very heavy trimming, and that's still disappointing. But like, there's nothing that we can do, right? Like, none of us are on the team, none of us are in decision-making positions. Hopefully, this is like one of the biggest and last learning, like hopefully this is the last big learning experience they have to like go through, because it's just been like kind of stagnation for a while. From there, we needed to update the vision for the game, gain confidence in our new direction, and roll out the changes to the team. The decision was the start of a long process, not the final piece of it. This has been hard for us, but as a director on this project, I have to do my best to make decisions that put the game and the community first. That's the other thing, is I feel like Aaron was very much like thrust into this after Jeff left, because we still don't know what like Jeff's involvement with the game was and why, like the real reasons why he left. Like, we won't know unless it comes out later on. So like, yeah, Aaron hasn't been put in a great spot. I'm a little interested why, like, there are people leaving the team that have been there for a while. So that's still a little like concerning to me, but I also think it's important to get like new blood in on the project for people working on the game, especially people that are either fans of the game or really passionate about it. Like, that doesn't hurt necessarily. In this case, I had trouble pivoting away from a vision that just wasn't working, and for that I would like to apologize to our players and to our team. I'm sorry. We are focusing our efforts and our passion into making this game an ever-evolving. It is definitely ever-evolving. I mean, I'll give him that one. It's definitely ever-evolving. We are still committed to building many of the elements that we talked about at BlizzCon 2019, including story missions that delve into the next chapter of the Overwatch universe. Yeah, like, the story missions will be cool. It'll be nice plot. Like, it'll probably feel, again, anyone coming from Destiny, it probably feels like the weekly missions that we get drip-fed. Like, sometimes they're bombshells and they're awesome, and sometimes they're not. New types of co-op content that we haven't shared. That's interesting. Are we going to get like a true horde mode? That'd be cool. And new stories that we're planning to, like, hold on, and new stories that we're planning to tell both in and out of the game. Out of the game. So like when he says that, I hope he doesn't mean like a Overwatch kind of situation where it's like not canon. But he says new stories, so maybe we're actually getting, maybe they have been working on like a Netflix show and they're just like, you know, they're sitting there like, oh, if only they knew. We're excited about this direction. We can't wait for you to finally experience what we've been building. Again, a lot of the team has been excited on social media about sharing what they've been working on. So I'm still interested to see where things are going. Overwatch was born from the ashes of Project Titan. It was a moment of metamorphosis for the team and the project, and something beautiful came out of it. This is another moment of change, and the future of Overwatch will be born out of it. This is a really interesting final piece, because I'm like, is this hinting at like... here's the thing, I can't believe this would be hinting at another big project or another big game, because they obviously don't even have the resources to like make like to justify that. So I don't... Yeah, this is a really interesting, like maybe he just means because the game is kind of pivoting. Like here's the thing, PvE was going to bring in a lot of players, but the PvP side of Overwatch is still the core and like the original pull for the game, right? Like it's been PvP for how many years now? And like, I think that should have always been the main focus with like, and I think that's what they're shifting to, is that like PvE is now going to be like just, you know, a piece of things instead of the main focus. It's disappointing. Do I even want to look at these comments? Yeah, I mean, it seems like most people are pretty hesitant, and obviously there's going to be people that are pretty angry about it. I should just never look at comments, to be honest. That's kind of brutal. I mean, again, cool communication. I'm a little fatigued on like the communication lately, not this specifically, but a lot of the communication that we've gotten has been like very empty, or like it's just lacked a lot of like actually engaging substance. And I don't necessarily like the idea that the communication we get from them is like apologies or like I don't know. What Overwatch really needs, and what the dev team needs, and what Aaron needs, and what Jared needs, they need a big win. They need like a really big positive moment, because it's been a lot of like small negative moments, and then this has been a big in the timeline of like where we've been with the game. This has been like this is gonna hurt a lot. And yeah, I'm hoping with this next season coming, because like this season hasn't been interesting whatsoever, and the PvE event was pretty unbelievably lackluster for how much it was hyped up. So they really actually need to deliver this coming season. And I'm feeling the same way with Destiny. Is like I was severely disappointed with the Destiny 2 expansion this past year. And so like their next season that launches around the same time is really going to have to not disappoint and like really impress to like keep player numbers active. Because that's the thing, is the more that the more the players get disappointed and the more that they feel like discouraged, the less we're gonna log in, and like the less motivated. Like I already don't really feel motivated to play very like recently. I'm on like a Brig Zen arc, so I'm feeling more motivated to play, but like the game doesn't feel necessarily the same. And part of that is sometimes boils down to balance, and other times it's like we've been doing the same thing for like 6 years, 7 years. So, but yeah, how are you feeling about this? Let's talk about this more. I'll see you guys.